Hello everyone and welcome. This is Linda. Today we're going to be making some kind of scrappy, bohemian, gypsy looking, freestyle, whatever you want to call it, fabric pockets for our junk journals. Now what I'm going to start with is just some pieces of old kind of linen, loose weave, whatever you've got that you can fray and ravel. Now this is about 4.5 by 5.5. These pieces are 4.5 by 5.5, and you want to make sure you get some scrungy, grungy, funky looking edges on here. So you want to do a little bit of raveling of whatever it is that you can do. Just really make sure that it doesn't look even, and just cut off the bolt nude looking. You don't want that. You want it roughed up. So if you have to cut an edge, make sure that you go back and rough it up. These are fun to make because, again, they use scraps, just small pieces of stuff that you have. And if you're a fabric person, you've always got lots of that. Now, I like to make the style that of a pocket that might look like it went on a shirt or something. So what I do with that is I take this piece of fabric that I've got, and I'll just find me a comfortable fold, and I put it just a little bit on the diagonal, and I try to make it about the size that would make a nice size pocket for a page in my journal. Let's try it out here. Yeah, that would work perfect. Let's see it better on that color, I think, but that looks good. That's a good size pocket. It'll hold a bigger ephemera. Okay, so there. Now try to make one going both ways, so they're not exactly alike. So just kind of fold it over on the diagonal like that. Crease it just a little, so you get what I want is to be able to get a memory line, so when I open it up, I know where I'm working from. Now I know that everything under this crease line, part of that's going to show. Not all of it, remember, because this is going to cover some, like that. So you don't want to overdo your fabrics under there. All right, I threw some stuff out here in pairs and other stuff, and I thought, well, I'll work with this, and if I'm shaking the camera, I apologize. Got it at a kind of a funky angle because my desk is full right now of other stuff. Okay, I'm gonna just cut a couple of pieces of this fabric, and I'm just gonna lay it on. Now I want a little bit of that edge to stay on the linen fabric, so I'm gonna leave that there and just kind of wrap that up in there. I had these little pieces here I thought was kind of interesting. Could layer that in there. And then I had a couple of this bronzy fabric. It's got a shine to it, and I really like that too, so I thought I would just play with that. And I had two pieces of that, so get that on there. The reason I got two of everything was, of course, I'm doing two at a time here, so Um, so I had these little ends left over from when I gathered a piece of fabric. So I thought, okay, that'll work. Don't know quite what I'm gonna do with it for sure, but I like that better, I think. Okay, let's see what we got going on so far so we can turn that over and we can see what's going on. I think I want more of this to show. So we can turn that down like that. Okay, same way with this one. Like that. Okay, that's looking all right. Now I had some little laces here. Not quite sure, maybe I could put that right in there. Oops. I've got a stuff-a-lanch going on here. Okay, I had some little yarn pieces I thought might fit in there. Let's give it a little bit of texture. Let's run that up through there. Again, we're just freestyling this, whatever. You're just collaging with fabrics rather than papers. Also had some of this, and I like it, so let's throw some of that in there. Let's see what that. Let's put it, tuck it right under there, and let's do the same thing on this other side. Let's tuck it under there. So if we can make 2 at a time of something, you know that you can mass produce also. If you only got 10 of these at one time, well, go for it. I had some of these little strings. Wasn't quite sure how that would work, but what if we just lay them across there, and what gets caught, and let's take this one and lay it long ways, like that. Okay, so if we turn that down, that looks pretty good. Okay, so now what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to open this up. I'm going to take it to my machine, and I'm going to zigzag around these elements on the bottom part. Okay, so y'all stay with me. I'll be back in just a minute. As you can see, I have sewn this with a zigzag stitch. Now also, you can tell that I came to the inside, and I stayed on the inside of this collage here, cluster area, and I just went around randomly to connect as much as I could. I'm not trying to get everything perfectly down at this point. I'm just trying to secure these elements in place. And the reason for that is because I know that in a minute I'm going to be turning this down, and I'm going to be sewing the outside edge. So I didn't want to come and have a double edge of sewing all around the edges. That looks too heavy. So basically I just zigzagged on the inside to secure that. And now the next thing I would do is I would turn this down, and I would determine what I'm going to decorate this with. If anything, you don't have to do anything, but you can. Also, I would take the time to fringe the edge of this, since it's going to turn over. let me show you the other one that I've gotten done for you. As you can see, I sewed a paper element to the fold over. I did fringe the edge, and then I took the whole thing and I cut a piece of cardstock that was similar to the size on the back so that I could secure it to the cardstock when I came and I sewed the outer edges. And I went all around the piece to do that. So now everything is secured, even though we might have little free edges, everything else is secure. It's not coming off, and it's going to stay together. The paper backing makes it very sturdy. Also, it gives you the paper edge that you can glue down to your books, and paper on paper stays a lot better, I think, than when you're trying to glue fabric to paper. So it's ready now to glue into a book. Let's see what it might look like. Let me grab a page here. So we have a nice pocket there, and let me find something we can slide in there. Don't know if this looks like it would fit really well. So that makes a nice sewn pocket. It just takes scraps. It doesn't take very long, and it's really easy, and no matter how you collage, it's going to be right. There is no wrong way to collage a fabric. You put it together the way you like it, just the same way that you do when you're paper collaging. And so your bits and pieces of fabric, you save those in a drawer or box just like you do your paper, and they are really good for projects like this. So like I said, this has the look of a pocket that might go on a garment, and that's kind of what you're looking for, but it has the vintage elements. Now the last thing I did was I took some of Tim Holtz Distress ink in the antique linen. Isn't that funny? I'm going to put antique linen on antique linen. But what I like to do with this is the same thing that you do with your paper edges. You ink the edges and come along and you give that right onto the fabric, and just give that antique linen woven fabric here, just give it a little color off this ink pad that lends to that antique look. Okay, now you can see that the edges are a little darker, which gives a little bit of a grunge vintage look, and which is, again, looks really good in our books, however we want to use them. Okay, all right, I think that's a done deal for today. Remember that we started with a 4.5 by 5.5 piece of linen or some loose weaved fabric that will give you rough edges and a little fringe if you have it. If you don't have that, well, really any kind of fabric will do, anything that you would like the base of. Decide how you want to do your top. Now you can go straight, or you can angle a little bit like I did. Either way you want to, it really doesn't matter. You don't have to sew or finish off this edge. As you can see, the edge here is secured by the element that I put here. So, you know, while it's open here, it's not going to be able to open because this is holding it down. Okay, so you want to do that. Then open it. Once you've decided how you're going to fold this and you've got a crease there, open it up, and then put your fabric cluster area below this crease, so that way you don't waste a bunch of fabric, or you don't bulk this area up more than it has to be. You can even actually cut this stuff out that's under it if you want, but I don't, because it doesn't give it a problem, or it doesn't bulk it up too much, as you can see. When you get it collaged the way you want it. Just go inside, sew around enough just to tack it down to make sure that it's secure, okay? Then fold your piece where you're going to fold it. Put your decoration on that, however you're going to do it. If you're going to sew it on, we'll get it sewed on at this point. If you're going to glue things on, well, you can do it at any point. But whatever you're going to put on here, now's the time to do it, because the next step is we're going to sew this to a card. And the cleaner the back of the card, the easier it is to slide things into it as a pocket. So once this part is decorated, then come down from the top, down, across, and up, and across. I go across the top because, again, it gives me a real good edge, makes it easy to slide things in to this card once it's on the paper, and it's very durable too. So secure all of that onto a piece of card that you've cut, and you can see that I didn't quite catch the card here, and I didn't catch this side because when I was sewing from the top side, but there's no way with all the sewing that's on here that this cardstock is going to come off this fabric. So this is sufficient to secure it, okay? In fact, this could actually be a double-sided pocket. Since I didn't secure it here, it could go from the top and the side. But that was, that was a mistake. I meant to catch it. I just didn't come over far enough. So you can cut this piece a little bigger and then come back and trim it down. But it's a little hard to trim after it's sewed, so that's why I try to get it as close as I can to the size and shape before I sew it. Put it on there. Your pocket is very durable, sturdy. Everything's going to stay on there. Your paper elements, I have sewn mine. They're on there securely. And now you've got a really nice pocket. And you can see that once you got your elements out on your desk to work with, it doesn't take long to collage up some fabric and to make this. So I hope you like that and you'll try it out. And until next time, bye-bye.